Well, it has been a very long time since I've done a video like this, so let's go back into old habit. Just like in those other videos, I'll be answering questions that people have sent me, although this time around I'm only going to be answering one question that a user has given to me, and I'm not actually going to reveal who asked the question for privacy's sake. Some were from people in my comments, some were from friends of mine. It's just a mixture of questions that I felt like answering. You know it by now, so let's get started. Bring on the questions. What's your favorite Spyro game? Okay, so a few years ago it used to be Spyro 2, and for the longest time I stood by that decision, but believe it or not, in this day and age, my favorite Spyro game is actually the original. Now, keep in mind, just because I say it's my favorite doesn't mean it's the best one to me, but I find Spyro 1 to be the most replayable of all the Spyro games. Not to say the other two aren't replayable, but the first one is just so quick to complete that I find myself replaying it on multiple occasions. Much like Banjo-Kazooie, it's one of those games that's just very easy to get into and complete on your first run. Again, not necessarily saying it's the best Spyro game, but it's my personal favorite. What was the first Disney movie you've seen besides the original Lion King? Okay, so if we're gonna be counting Pixar in this case, the second Disney movie I ever saw in my life was Toy Story, but if we have to talk strictly Disney, then it's Aladdin. And I find it funny that all of those movies to this day remain some of my favorite Disney movies ever made. What do you think of the Muppets? I touched on this a little bit when I did my review of Muppet Monster Adventure last year, but I love the Muppets. I love almost everything they do. Granted, not all of their movies have been heavy hitters for me, but when they do get it right, they are very enjoyable and fun to watch. I mean, the original Muppet movie is one of my favorite films of all time. If you haven't seen it yet, please check it out. You're doing yourself a disservice by not seeing it. How long does it take to edit videos? It usually depends on what I'm actually editing. Something like a 6 episode can usually take a day to edit because they're so easy to do, but a Let's Tackle video, for example, like this one, takes a lot longer to do, maybe 2 to 3 days. I usually focus on my videos a lot when I'm working on them. Of course, I do take breaks every once in a while, but it's primarily just working on these videos until they're done. I focus on them 100% of the time and don't often take long breaks. Yeah, I'm on my computer a lot every single day. It kind of hurts my eyes a bit. Have you played Mario Party? Yes, I have played Mario Party, but I have not played every game, and more importantly, I don't play it all the time. It's more like one of those time wasters that you can just play when you have nothing else to do, and you do have an enjoyable experience, but it's only more fun when you're playing it with friends. If I can shed some light on that situation, my favorite Mario Party game in general is Mario Party 2. It's just the funniest one to me, and all the creative boards and costumes you wear adds to its charm. Do you think a kid's show can be adapted into a horror film well? It usually depends on the kind of show that we're talking about. You can't necessarily turn every kid's show into a horror film, but if there's one show I think could be adapted into a horror film well, it would be Thomas the Tank Engine. I mean, these engines already have personalities of their own, so seeing a kind of spoof horror movie about steam engines going to kill people would actually be kind of creepy. I mean, who knows, it may even be more interesting than what the Banana Splits attempted to do. What do you think of Nintendo Switch Online? It's honestly a big mess. Like, I know this is Nintendo's first attempt to make some sort of subscription service, but what they've had to offer with it, I honestly don't think it's even worth the $20 a year. Like, yeah, you get online, but it's not even stable. I've had several instances of online struggling in Smash Ultimate, so it's not even a premium experience. While there is a voucher to get games cheaper, it still costs a lot just to get 2 games specifically from Nintendo. I know Sony and Microsoft have more expensive subscription services, but from what I've been seeing, they offer a lot more. I mean, for as problematic as PlayStation Now gets, it at least offers PS3 games, and I've heard really good things about Xbox Game Pass. Nintendo Switch Online is definitely at the bottom of the barrel when it comes to video game subscription services. It's a mess, but I'm not gonna say it's entirely terrible. Do you play games on PC? No, I don't play games on PC. I mainly use my PC for work. Yes, I'm well aware that PC can output better quality in terms of video games, but I usually go to console just for the comfort of playing on my television. And I especially hate how you have to get very picky with your PC in order to get games to even work properly on it. Every time I've attempted to play a PC game, it always struggles. Again, my PC is mainly used for work and nothing more. What do you think of old Family Guy? Okay, so if I have to strictly judge Family Guy based on just the first 5 seasons and ignore everything else, it's fine. It's got some funny moments every once in a while, and some episodes are genuinely amazing, but as a whole, I still wouldn't say it's anything worth watching. I feel like something like American Dad can do a better job at the characters and the humor, which is why I consider it the better show as a whole, even without the modern seasons of Family Guy. Not to say old Family Guy is bad, it's a masterpiece compared to the newest episodes, but I still wouldn't say it's anything worth watching like Futurama or The Simpsons. Do you watch anime? No, I tried to get into anime once and I found myself so fucking bored with it. I can't even remember what show I watched. Most of the shows look the same, and while some do have some unique art style aspects every once in a while, they're just not that interesting for me. And it doesn't help that a lot of these shows drag on their stories to a painful degree. Of course, Western animation isn't perfect, but anime I just don't think is my thing really. Are your characters inspired by dick figures? I'm so glad you used the term inspired, because these characters are certainly not rip-offs. Yes, they may have some similar aspects to those from dick figures, but they are certainly not copycats. But I'm not really going to explain why, because that would just be me bragging about how I think my show is better. What are your thoughts on Scoob? It's not really that good. To quickly quote what I said on my Letterboxd review, its attempts to fix the characters result in a movie that just feels very disjointed from its own universe, and the voice acting is kinda bad for the most part. It's not that funny, and I'm not kidding when I say I'd rather watch the live action movies than this. Because at least those movies try to feel more like Scooby-Doo than this reimagined title ever will be. Oh, and as an attempt to set up a cinematic universe, it fails so hard. What do you think of the rise of SKYWALKER? Do I really need to say anything? What would you do for free pizza? I would literally do anything for free pizza. Really? Alright, new bet. You have to review the PlayStation Classic in your next Let's Tackle video. Ha! Joke's on you, I was planning to review it anyway. Oh. Well, in this case, I'll give you free pizza to see you suffer. Anyway, that's all for this Q&A video. I'm sorry it was a lot shorter than you probably expected it to be, but truth be told, a lot of the questions I did get, I didn't feel like answering. This will probably be the last normal Q&A video that I do. I'd rather save those kind of things for live streams, because at least then it's not consistent. But with the questions I did answer, I still had a fair amount of fun answering them. Thank you all so much for submitting your questions. I'm sorry if it didn't really get answered, but I think it's time for me to just move on from these Q&A videos. Thank you all so much for watching, and again, submitting your own questions, and keep on playing, everyone.